everyone. Welcome back to the show, Inquisitive I Am. I am your host, Nicole Petit. We are running a few minutes late, but I hope you all can come on in and join us today. We have a very special guest today. We have Miss Joyce Morrisette coming in today to talk about drug addiction. Well, she'll tell us a little bit about how she overcame where she was in her past, which is her past, and let us know how she's become such a successful, beautiful woman today, and give us all some education on the program that she counsels, the program that she educates, the program that she coordinates. Such a brilliant woman, a brilliant mind. So she will be joining us here shortly. You know, I got to bring it to you guys. My book, you see it? It's still out. Focus, Fearless, and Fighting. School year starting. I think it would be an awesome help for the parents as well as some of the educators. Pick it up. Parents, let's try to help the educators out as much as possible. I know when the year starts, we all have a tendency to believe that it's the educator's job to raise our children. They are educators, they are counselors, they are mom, they are dad. We put so much on our educators throughout the school year. So this year, parents, let's try to help out as much as we can. The book is available online at Amazon, or you can go to barnesandnobles.com as well and grab a copy of the book. It is raw and uncut. There are some things in the book that you may not be willing to speak with your children about. If that's the case, then make sure that somebody is talking to the children, because social media is out there, and you better believe that they're hearing it from somewhere or they're seeing it from somewhere. So let's try to start this school year off right, get in the know, find out what's going on. Let's start going to PTA meetings. Let's start meeting our teachers and getting to know what we need to know for our students this year, for the school year. Let's see what else we got going on. The Six Figure Club that me and Kistra Scott, we're both over. We are now officially a nonprofit program. We are headed to the Museum of Peace and Justice next month. I'm so excited for the students. We will have open enrollment soon. We will only be taking a maximum of 10 students when we decide to open enrollment. So we do have that going on. I'm proud of all my Six Figure Club students. Oh, the art walk is coming up, and I know my friend Taquita is getting ready to set up a voters registration. We all need to make sure we register to vote. We do have an upcoming election in November, so we want to be involved as much as we possibly can. I did a live probably about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago just to give you my little metaphor on why we should rock our vote. So we need to get out and make sure, if you're out during that weekend, hopefully the rain is not going to stop us. Go out and register to vote. I will hopefully have more information about that as it gets closer to the art walk, so you'll know where to go to make sure you're able to do that. We're going to take a short break. We will be back with our guest, Ms. Morrisette. Hope you guys don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Recently, I was in a car accident, and my lawyer got me $3.5 million.
Stop lying! You're an actor! You know you didn't get no $3.5 million back! Tell the truth! Come on, baby!
I'm Attorney Jerome Carter. If you want to keep most of your money, call me right now.
That's what I'm talking about, baby! Whoa!
Just trying to make a dollar.
Welcome back, welcome back. I want to introduce our special guest for today, Miss Beautiful Joyce Morrisette. How are you doing today?
I'm well, and yourself?
I am fantastic. I am so glad that you joined us today. We have some stuff we could talk about.
Okay.
You know, I try to bring guests on where the guests can actually talk about things that can impact the community, because we all have these concerns. We're all dealing with these same issues. So I said, you know what? That's what we need to bring on the show. And I'm so glad that you are just blessing us with your presence today.
Okay.
So we're going to get started. Right now, we know you are the, let me make sure I get this right. You're in the drug court program, and you are the coordinator and the counselor of the program.
Yes, that's correct.
So let's talk about your history, if you will, and let us know how you got from where you were to where you are now.
Okay, my history is, well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me to come out and share my story. My history is, I started experimenting with drugs and alcohol at a young age. I graduated high school at the age of 16.
Oh, wow.
And I relocated to California with my parents. I went to college, and just like the average young child, I made a decision that I wanted to work and go to school later. And that's when I started experimenting with drugs. Okay. I started in Los Angeles, and my drug of choice was crack cocaine. Wow. That was during the time when the crack epidemic was full in effect. I did crack cocaine for numerous years. My dreams and all my things that I wanted to do in life went to the side. Right. I had a child, and you know, there was times when I would stop using for a short period of time only to return back to active addiction. And then it was an incident that happened in my life where I was in California, and it was some gang members, and it was in Los Angeles, and I actually had taken some drugs and some money from some gang members, and I was kidnapped and held hostage for numbers of days. They wanted to kill me over $700 worth of crack cocaine. Oh my gosh. That you would think that would have been enough for me to stop using. The police eventually located me, and they took me to a hospital, and I was listed in the hospital under Jane Doe. Yeah, because the gang members were looking for me.
Right, they would have showed up, I'm sure.
So I was in the hospital for like a month, and I lost my eyesight in both my eyes. I couldn't see, and when I was released from the hospital, I regained my sight in one eye. They told me I would never ever be able to see again, but of course I can see today. Yes. Thank God for that. Yes. So it came to a point. Of course, you know, I pressed charges. You know, I worked with the police to find out, because nobody deserved the treatment that I received. And there was a point where they started making the arrest, and I was given the option. I was given 3 options: either relocate in the state of California, and the state would, of course, pay for it for a short period of time. I could go into a victim witness program, or I could relocate on my own. And at the time, I was pregnant with my daughter. And so I made the decision. Of course, I didn't want to go into a victim witness program and not be able to see my family anymore. So I made the decision to come home, and Mobile was home. And I returned to Mobile, 7 months pregnant, a crack addict. And it was at that point you would think that someone would stop. Right. You know, but I didn't stop. You know, I eventually had my child, continued to use, excuse me, and then my grandparents, they took my child away from me. She was 6 months old. And then there was a point where I continued using, and there was a point where I was in the vehicle with a gentleman, and we got stopped, pulled over by the police. And of course, I had crack pipe in my possession. So I went to jail, and I was given the option to either take a drug court program or go to prison for some time. Wow. And going to prison was not an option.
Was not an option. That's
it was
right.
not an option
That's
for
right.
me. So I made the decision to enter into drug court, and that was in 1998. And I pled into the drug court program with no desire to want to stop using. Right. You know.
You just want to go to prison?
No, I didn't want to go to prison, but then I was like, I can't see myself going to prison just for using drugs. Right. I didn't kill anybody. Right. I didn't rob anyone. You know, I was just getting high.
Didn't make any sense. Right.
So I got into the drug court program. I remember it was in February of '98. That's when I pled into the program. And of course, I was not the model client. And I continued to use, and after 2 weeks in the program, I made a decision that I was going to leave the program and say, catch me if you can.
Oh, wow.
So I went AWOL from the program. Back then, we had Judge McMakin, who was over the drug court program. And eventually, I got caught like a month later from being AWOL. And I went back to jail, and I was in there for 40 days. He made me sit in jail for 40 days for being AWOL from the program. And before I could get out the program, he sent someone to do a home visit to make sure I had a proper place to live. And I kind of told the story, you know, that I was going to live with my aunt, and I was really not living with my aunt. And so at that time, he finally released me. I went back into the program, and I had been clean for like 80 days. And then I made a conscious decision to use again. So I was not the model client. And then it was at that point that I said, you know what, if I don't do this their way, I'm going to prison.
Right, eventually.
You know, so and then I had to go to 12-step meetings, and I was going to meetings, and I remember them saying, you need to get a sponsor, you need to come to meetings. And I had a counselor back then who was also in recovery. And she said, Joyce, you need to go to every meeting in Mobile. And I listened to her. I finally made a decision to listen to someone. And I used to go to 2 meetings a day. I went to treatment like I was supposed to. And of course, I didn't have a job, so I didn't have any means to pay my drug court fees. And there was an opportunity to do community service to help pay for my fees. And that's exactly what I did. And I had a friend of mine who also worked at drug court, and I used to see her at the meetings, and I thought she was spying on me. And I said, well, how did you get a job here? And so she told me what she did. She said, I went through drug court, I volunteered, and at graduation, she said, they gave me a job. So I did the same exact thing that she did. I did community service, and at graduation, they offered me a part-time position with the community service program. And that was in February '99.
And you've been there since.
I've been there ever since. I've worked with the community service program, I've worked with alternative sentencing, and I'm finally where I believe God wanted me to be. And that's helping someone else to overcome the disease of addiction. Since then, I went back to school. I got a second associate's degree from Bishop, then I transferred to South, and I got my bachelor's degree from South Alabama. Then I went into the counseling program at South. I have received my master's degree. And then I went into the public administration program at South. Now I'm currently working on my doctorate degree with Walden University.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you, we're going to change that. It's no longer just Miss Morrisette in my book.
Okay, well, thank you.
It's Dr. Morrisette from this point on. You know, hey, at this point, you have been so successful with everything you've done, so I know you're going to accomplish it. So as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, today I can say that I'm no longer addicted to drugs and alcohol. I'm addicted to school now. I'm addicted to school and educating myself.
Right, and that's a beautiful thing. All right, Doc.
And today I can say that I have 20 years clean from drugs and alcohol. My clean date is June 13, 1999. I just celebrated 1998. I just celebrated my 20-year anniversary. I'm still involved in my recovery process. I'm actually the chairperson of our area convention that's going to be held here in Mobile. I try to stay active as much as I can. You know, that daughter, my child that I told you about that was taken from me, she's a graduate of the University of Alabama, Birmingham. She's graduated last year. She's a nurse now. And I have a son, my first child, that was also taken from me. He lives in California still, and he's a psych tech. So both of my children are very successful. They all know about my addiction.
Your past.
Yes, they all know about my past. I made my amends with my children and my family and society. Yes. I
have no words. I am very, very proud of the things you've accomplished. It takes a lot for you to overcome everything you have overcome and to be where you are with children. There's no words. The only word I can come up with is strong. That's a huge word, but that's the word I find when I hear your story. We're going to take a short break, y'all. I know that there's someone out here that can relate to what Dr. Morrisette is telling us today. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We're going to take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with Doc.